We're here at the house of Bob Hawkins, and we've gathered some of the staff here from Baden Senior, and we're going to give you some of our tips on what you need to do in order to move to Europe. So our first big tip is going to come from Mr. Holden, but actually we're all going to introduce ourselves first.
Hi, I'm John Holden. I came from Montreal over here almost 2 years ago now. And I'd like to say hello to Garrett and Elaine from Thunder Bay. You're going to be our new principal. So in case you don't know.
My wife isn't here.
My wife isn't here because she just drove back from Luxembourg picking up someone's brand new Volkswagen van. The thing that I'd like to talk about is now the time.
Oh no, let's go around.
Okay, let's introduce some more people.
Okay. I'm Dee Muir. This is Barry. We're hosting the Andreassens.
Yeah,
go ahead for that.
David, I'm going to apologize to you, I suppose, and to your wife. Now, I think when you called that you said your wife's name was Tamche, it was really quick and I didn't get the pronunciation down right. I know I didn't.
And he was asleep too.
And I apologize for that. I'd like to say also hello to your
9 hours ahead.
Your three kids, to Lars and to Eric and to Sven. Congratulations on being chosen to come to Baden. You'll really enjoy it here. David, I understand you're from Camrose. Dee and I are from
Flatlander.
Regina. And we are now ex-Nuis. Now that you have been appointed, we give up our title of Nui, and you are the new Nui.
Very good.
And D/slashes.
I'm Connor Hales. I'm from Saskatoon, another Flatlander. I'd like to welcome Mark and Deborah Moore, who are coming from Halifax. And what else do I have to say?
Oh, that's about it for now.
Welcome.
Well, you've been seeing me throughout this little video production that we sent. My name's Rob Porca. I teach French immersion here, and I'm from Red Deer. And next to me, we have the strong silent type on our staff. This is Ron Bergeron. Ron was not feeling too well today. In fact, we thought that he looked a little gray. And actually he's just black and white. So he'll be kind of quiet tonight. Ron's from Kimberley, and he's sponsoring Mary Varga. So on behalf of Ron, Mary, welcome and congratulations for being selected to posting in Europe.
Hi, hi sis, and the reason I said that is David. You can tell my sister who lives in Camrose hi. My name is Bob Hawkins, and I'm hosting this sort of get-together tonight with all of the sponsors, including Ron. And I'm just going to put some stuff in whenever it fits. Welcome.
Okay, I think what we'll do is everyone has a topic of conversation. We have a big list posted up on the wall, and we have up to 33 little tips that we would like to give you about moving to Europe. And I know when I got my video, I watched this section very closely, and it might be a good idea to just take a couple notes after you've seen the video once or twice on some tips that we have for you about moving to Europe. So, John, I think you've got the first one for today.
Before I came over, I was very concerned about being able to fit in with the German culture. And I hadn't mentally prepared myself at all for fitting in with the military culture. There are two kinds of culture shock here. One, you're living in a different country, but within that country you're living in Canada. You're living on a military base, and you're one of a large number of civilians, but this place is run by and for the military. So you have to keep in mind, there's Germany, and there's Canadian Forces based Baden Soellingen.
Okay, great.
Makes sense.
Well, I am the only D/ sitting here.
What's a D/?
And a D/ is a dependent. And in the military, what it means is that you're nothing. We are non-existent. You have to know your husband's social insurance number. You have to know everything about your husband, and they don't care about you. Nothing. Like you're non-existent. And before I came over here, I was established. I did everything for myself. I didn't need my husband. Now,
You did so.
it's like I can't live without him. I can't do anything
You
without him.
couldn't before. You just didn't realize it.
The one nice thing about being a D/slash is if he really bugs you, anything you do puts a mark against him. So you can really be cause a lot of trouble. Doesn't cause us any trouble, it just causes him trouble. But being a D/slash is very hard to get used to, but you get used to it because all the people around here are just fantastic. All the staff is fantastic. Everybody, it's a new family. And I was very worried when I came over here, leaving all my family and my friends. And I've met so many new people, and everybody has been just so great that don't worry about that part of it. You'll just make new friends and be one of the family within no time.
You want to maybe talk about the number of D/slashes that work?
Yeah, there are quite a few that work. Like I'm working because I have to. There are a lot that don't work, and the ones that don't work, they all get together, and there's lots of things for them to do. And the ones that do work, we can still get together with everybody. I still do. So there's a lot of leeway. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, there are lots of semi-professional and professional jobs for
Yes.
D/slashes,
Yeah.
but don't get your hopes up. You're going to get.
I mean, if you don't really
Same
have
field.
to work, it's nicer that you don't, because there's too many other things that you can be doing. Especially, like, you don't want to get tied down to a job if you don't have to, because you can go
You can
so
go to
many
London
places.
for 5 marks,
That's
for
right.
example.
Like, you can just take off and go. It's great. So you can get the best of both worlds, and it doesn't even matter. Like, I've had a really good time. So
Great. Okay. Gary.
The topic I'd like to sort of discuss a little bit here now is one of my favorite ones. I'm a gadget man. I like electronic toys. And if you happen to be so inclined, you'll find that you're in paradise over here. There are really, really good buys on electronic equipment over here. I would suggest that
cut up your Visa card, MasterCard right away.
if you're considering buying any kind of electronic equipment back in Canada in the near future, don't. Wait till you get here, and after you get here you may find that you can probably buy it much cheaper over here than you can back in Canada. And that will apply to things like stereos, to TVs, to cameras, video cameras, compact disc players, buying compact discs themselves, almost any kind of electronic gear that you can imagine can be bought here for extremely reasonable prices. There are sales that go on at the bases at times that are impromptu sales that you feel you almost can't resist. An example is that I had a very good VCR camera when I came over here. I happened to be at an American base one day, and they dropped the Super VHS model of a compact video camera from it was $1,200 US down to $750 US, and it was a buy that camera back in Canada that buy back in Canada is well over $1,700, and just a one-day sale. Those kinds of things go on really, really quickly over here. So don't buy any equipment that you think you might want until you get here. Secondly, on electronic equipment, if it's good and you want to bring it over from Canada, do that anyway. You can always buy extras and take it back home. But if you've got some good equipment, do that.
Okay, thanks, Barry.
Okay, it's my turn. I'm going to talk about the biggest purchase you're going to make while you're here, and that's going to be buying a vehicle of some sort. Some of us have bought a couple, and it depends on what your lifestyle is going to mean or do here. Cars is a debatable issue here, is whether you should bring your own car that you have in Canada now, purchase one here, new or used. It's really hard to say. If you have a car at home that you like and it's a Japanese product, it's probably worthwhile bringing. North American cars do work here, you can get parts, but they're, on the whole, most people have decided either not to use them, try to sell them, which is very difficult, or have run into problems with them because of the high speeds on the autobahns. camping vehicles, as far as Westphalia vans or some kind of camper van, we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. But right now, I think we should probably we'll just pan and talk to each individual as to what they've done for a mode of transportation. So we'll toss it to John.
I brought over a 1980 Toyota Supra that I bought for $3,000. It was rusty. I do come from Montreal. And its life has been extended by at least 3 years. I have no plans to bring it back. It's a disposable car, and I brought it so I could have something to arrive that was here when I arrived and drive right away. And I also bought a truck, a diesel Mitsubishi, to tow my trailer. Diesel is a good fuel to use around here. I wouldn't recommend bringing a new car that you have to continue paying for while you're over here. You'll want to use your money for something else, like traveling. I'm still paying for the truck, and I think about that a lot.
I'm in the same sort of boat. I brought a car that has a market value of about $15,000 back in Canada over here with the thought that I could sell it here. And that was a real mistake. I should have sold it back in Canada with a large market. Here you can only sell your American or Canadian style car to Canadians or Americans. You can't sell it very easily to the Germans. It has to be converted to German specs before it gets sold to Germans.
What kind of car is it?
I have a Ford Mustang that I brought over. And it's very hard to sell, and it's really regretting the fact that I did bring it over. I'm trying now to buy a camper.
Thanks, Connor.
I have two vehicles. One's a GMC pickup that I brought with me, sat in the garage for the last year because it's hasn't been a great vehicle to have here, and it's impossible to sell. And I bought a Peugeot van, which I retrofitted myself, being the shop teacher, and it's turned out great. It's flexible, adaptable, and cheap to run, fast on the Autobahn, and it looks ugly, but it's been a great vehicle.
And I guess I didn't have much choice because the car I had in Canada just burnt up in a fire before I came. So when I got here, I decided that I was going to buy my dream car, which you will have seen in the video. But I couldn't quite afford it, so I ended up still buying a BMW 528i. And I have a 1984, and I paid 8,000 Canadian dollars for it. And a new one, a 1990, is listing at $55,000. It still goes 200 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn, and I'm really having a lot of
Sucks
fun.
gas like crazy.
Yeah.
I can vouch for the 200 Ks.
This might be a good time to mention about the financing, arranging financing back in Canada first.
Sure, well, let's Bob just finish off. What did you do with
We hit it lucky. We came over and rented with the $850. We rented a Golf for 6 weeks and traveled 2 of those 6 weeks traveling around every car lot in the community surrounding the base, and hit it lucky. We got a used Mercedes, and the Blue Monster. We're still driving it. It's a great car, great family car, and we saw lots of used vehicles around the area that you could pick up quite cheaply around
lots of good deals on cars.
How much was your car?
I better ask my wife. She wrote the check. I believe it was 5,000.
It was 7,000 marks.
Thank you, dear.
Which is about
She keeps track of the money.
Speaking of money and financing, Connor, what would you say with regards to that?
As far as just one thing before I talk about the financing, whatever you decide to do, I think the majority of us have agreed that wait till you get here, buy your car after you get here. If you ship one, that's fine. If you've decided that, but do your tourist plan buying. If you're buying a new one over here, it's the same price. You get some rental time for about 6 weeks. So it gives you time to look around. It's a big purchase. Think about it real hard. As far as financing, it's best to arrange with your bank manager at home to tell them you're going to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over here on a car.
Who knows?
Make some pre-arrangements, like a pre-arranged mortgage, and someday you're going to phone them up and say, I'm writing a check,
Send the
honor
money.
it.
Great.
But
Okay.
it's a decision.
Thanks. I just moving along to keep things moving. I'm going to talk about school resources, and I guess one of the tips that I got last year was in regards to school resources was bring absolutely everything you have. And I really took that to heart because out of half of the boxes that I shipped over here, I would say half of them contain school resources. Now, in some areas we have a lot of textbooks because we have a book room that's full of textbooks that go from many years back right up to the present. But that's not true for all subject areas. I had a great lack of school board developed resources, things that you could Xerox and run off. There's nothing like that here, so bring all of that kind of stuff with you. And
The hell with a copyright.
photocopying, we do a lot of
free.
the paper's free. We do a lot of photocopying here,
When it works.
and just close your eyes and they'll never catch you.
And we will too.
Yeah.
Actually, bringing Ron Bergeron had a good idea about
Videotaping.
videotaping. Anything that you see on television right now that's current that you could use in your classroom, tape it now, and you
Be
might be able
current
to use
here.
it.
Yeah. Go to your school resource center. This is totally unofficial. Go to your school resource center, get out the videotapes and dub them and bring them because we don't have anything like that here. And they'd be really helpful.
Especially Mark as the geography teacher, you need lots of video things from home.
Great. Bob.
Well, I'm supposed to talk about the leisure time, the free time that we have around the base, and there is so much to talk about. I'm just going to skim over a couple of things because you can never get bored around this place. You can do anything you want. There's tennis. Jimmy had already talked about this previously on the tape. We have a great golf course. I love it. I can score better than I do back home because there's no water and very few sand traps. And when you play with a guy like John, you can even cheat once in a while. And we played New Year's Day. We went out, and the weather here is great. You can almost play every day of the year. It's a little gray some days, but a little chilly, but you can still wear the gloves and take them off and hit them. You can go out, play tennis. I see Mike Fong playing tennis quite a bit of the time. There's squash courts here. There's badminton courts, and the activities...
You'll never be bored.
Everybody plays as a family, so there's nothing to worry about.
Bit of skiing on the weekends, but you got to be willing to drive for it.
And
Bring your bicycles.
Bring
Yeah.
all of your
Yes.
equipment here with you. If you use it, bring it because we'll get involved.
Yeah,
Somebody
if you don't use it, one of us will.
Yeah.
But the bicycles, by the way, are a better buy back in Canada. You can buy, I think, a better bike in Canada if you look around for prices than you can here. I think the bikes are pretty expensive here.
Okay, great. John.
Okay. At Christmas, Easter, and in February, we have at least a week off. And then you have a summer. You have to decide how you're going to travel and what you're going to do when you're traveling by way of accommodations. Many people have chosen to buy a van. Some people have chosen to buy trailers. I bought a trailer. You can get a trailer for just a few $1,000s. You have to have
How many
something to
is it
pull
full?
with. Anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000, you can get quite a nice trailer. So,
Which you can take home.
which you could take home if you get the electricals changed. But if you're planning to hotel your way around Europe, think about this, because it's going to turn out to be a very expensive proposition for the amount of time we're traveling around. A whole summer and at least 3 to 4 weeks during the school year. So a lot of motel bills. So think about camping.
Great.
And it's hard to get a hotel after 7 o'clock on a Friday evening.
Yeah.
So when you leave here, you need someplace to stay.
Dee.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the banking situation over here. There's only one bank on the base, and it's a Bank of Montreal. So therefore, the only card to have over here is a MasterCard. Therefore, your payments will get paid on time. They guarantee you 48 hours. So it's a lot better than having a Visa mailed to you. The only other thing that I'll say is that don't plan on bringing your automatic teller card and using it over here because it's not possible. You can't use it. Your Visa or MasterCard will not be used in the machine. And there are no overdraft facilities here, so you know, if you have a
Organize your financial life.
That's right. So, but a teacher or a D/ of a teacher, your checks are honored here. You're considered not too bad. So don't worry about. You don't have to have your bank at the Bank of Montreal, but
We're
you'll be all right.
very cash oriented society. I think I got $2,800 in my wallet right now
In cash.
in cash.
Yeah,
And that's quite common.
I have 3 marks.
I have two.
And I also have 7 different currencies, I think. So
Yeah, I think that's right. You have
Yes.
to get really easy.
Rob, I can talk about the packing when we
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
I'd like to talk a bit about the packing and getting ready to come over here. There's a couple of things that you might want to try or look for. You're given a weight allotment, a total weight allotment of furniture that you can bring or equipment you can bring over and back. It's bring over everything that you think that you might need. I wouldn't worry about trying to keep it under half. And there's the strange situation that arrives here that they actually pay you about $750 if you bring more than 2,000 pounds worth of equipment. If you bring less than 2,000 pounds worth of gear, you can, over the next year, if you save all of your bills, submit enough to claim that $750 back. So if you're close somewhere to the 2,000 pound range, you may even want to pack a few extra rocks just to get it over the 2,000 pounds so that you can get the $750. Also, they will pay you extra money for storing a large number of boxes or a large number of furnishings in permanent storage. The more you store, the more money they seem to want to give you as well for doing that. The second one is that the boxes you probably want to get packed. The green ball boxes, which come over. It's the green ball, red balls.
Red balls.
Reds come first. Red ball. Or you don't green ball.
Red ball boxes, which will have some of the immediate things that you need to get over here. Ship them as soon as you can possibly get them out of your house, so that they arrive here even before you get here.
They're priority boxes.
Okay. The other boxes are called green balls, green ball boxes. Make sure, again, if you can get your shipping done as quickly as you can so that it arrives here shortly after you get here. We ended up with a situation where we didn't get our green ball boxes until October. So that I started teaching school without any of my teaching materials. It was all in my green ball boxes. I didn't have any of my school clothes.
Pay you lots of money if they're late.
Okay, but yeah, you are paid for it being late.
Great. Okay, Connor.
I'm going to talk about something a little more fun. In your first month that you're here, we're going to entertain you entertain you a lot. John and his wife, and Barry and Dee, and myself and Ron are going to greet you as soon as you get off the plane. Mark, you're coming separate from everybody else, but we'll still make it home. We're show you around the base and get you settled in for a week. You're going to have to, you'll probably have another week between then and when we start school. You should probably think of maybe some place you want to go, and when you write us back, give us a hint to where those are, and we can maybe set you up with something or give you some information. After that, as soon as school starts, we're going to go into a hard month of work and a real hard month of partying. I run the organization we call 924 that is kind of the head party group for the 75 teachers on staff, and we work very hard at keeping you busy. So plan to party about or socialize 3 to 4 times a week for your first month, bearing in mind that that's going to cost you a little money and those kind of things, and it's going to keep you real active. She says quite a bit of money, and that's true. There's going to be lots of fees and things in the first week of school. So when you bring your cash over, that bank draft to deposit in our famous Bank of Montreal, bring as much as you can spare and probably a little bit more.
But great fun to be had.
We're going to use it all. Help you spend it.
Thanks, Connor. One thing that I wanted to talk about that I found really interesting coming over here was the fact that even though we're living in Germany, we're really in a very, very tight Canadian community here. And when you go to school every day, it would be just like you were going to your schools at home. We operate in English all the time.
Only it's like small town.
Well, it is like small town, but I
It
mean,
is.
the school is very English. It's like any other Canadian school, and you really accept that there's about 25 times more activities going on for both the students and the staff, but we'll talk about that later. In any event, I think that you only sort of get the shock that you're living in Germany is when you go home at night and you suddenly realize that English is not the language that's of use out there. And as a language teacher, I thought that I would be able to pick up German just like this. I went and took a course, and I thought I'd learn French and I'd learn Spanish, and I'd be able to learn German just like this. Well, that was definitely an eye-opener for me and a humbling experience. But I think that everyone's managed to get by, but it is difficult to meet and get to know the German community because you are working in such close contact with the Canadian community here. So it's well worth it to get out and try to meet some of the German people, but I think it is difficult given our schedules, but I really think it'd be worthwhile to give it a try.
Hi, I'm here to introduce you to the babysitting services that are available around the base. And I'm going to let the lady behind the camera, who is pregnant for the second time with our upcoming second child due in August, and you can just listen to her voice. She's the expert on babysitting services.
Take it away, Deb.
Hi, I'm Debbie, and I have a 10-month-old baby. I find that the babysitting services here are really, really good. If there's something that I'd like to go to during the day, either a doctor's appointment or go shopping, or just have a nice afternoon of traveling around, I can take my son to kindercare. The cost is about 3 Deutschmarks per hour per child, and they will take them on a first-come, first-served basis. The person in charge is a nurse, and she's really, really good. They also have... For working parents, they have a daycare which will take a child from 1.5 to 5 years old, whereas a kindercare will take them from age 0 to up to 5.
All right, well done. I didn't even have to jump in there.
Very good. John.
Okay. As teachers here on the base, we're members of the officers' mess, and this doesn't make us officers. We're admitted more or less as guests, and we're not really going to be captains.
John, tell them your rank.
Oh, I'm a general. I teach general math.
Great, thanks, John. D.
What is your real rank?
Civilians.
Civilian.
We're all
Yeah.
civilians. We're just civilians.
On the boxes that you're going to ship and send over here, your rank is civilian, not captain.
Or any place you see that.
Yeah.
Checks.
I think one thing that you should bring over is, if you're at first, bring over some books or something, games that you'd like to play with your family, for something together, because for the first little while you're going to need to get an adjustment, and it's nice just to have something at home.
Great.
The apartment procedure over here is something that you should be aware of. We do not have much choice on the apartments that are available. Typically what happens is the apartment that you were going to get is an apartment that's being vacated by somebody that's going back home. So you may not, we'll try to best fit you and your apartment together so it works as best as we can get it. We are really lucky as compared to the elementary system that we have apartments for everybody now. If you find that the accommodations aren't to your satisfaction once you get here, you may be able to, on your own, find another apartment. But apartments are at a real premium here, and there's not much we can do about
Especially
changing that.
since the
East
East
German.
German situation, you don't have much choice.
No.
If you're trying to bring things like pets, one of the families that was here has been living about 40 miles away and commuting every day, and has just after a whole year of searching has finally found a place that will allow them to have a pet in the apartment. Pets are a real problem here. We had to leave 2 really good dogs at home because we couldn't find a place for them here.
Great. Connor.
Okay, we're going down the list real quick. One of the things that's on our list is the idea that you should probably plan to stay 2 years or more than 2 years. Your contract's for a minimum 2. Most of us tend to stay 3. The major average probably is 3, with the odd ones going for 4 and 5. But on the idea that you're probably going to end up being 3 years here, bring anything that you like clothing. Bring all your clothes because they're going to go out of style by the time you get home.
High back chairs.
Bring your
chairs.
kids' toys because the kids are going to be growing up by the time you get home. Bring things that will go out of date and out of style because you might as well use them. You pay for them at one time. And on the same note, you don't want to have to spend extra money. But 3 years seems like it's going to be good for most of us. There are a few that stay longer.
Okay. You may have think that you've heard us talk a little bit about trips and some of the things that we've bought. Certainly we have that disease that everyone seems to get, which is travel and buy. But some costs, for example, we get an LOA and an SFA. And the LOA is really covers the cost of the entire apartment. I think it was safe to say here that most people get their entire rent paid for. This is an allowance that the military gives you along with your SFA, which covers
LOA
everything.
means living out allowance.
Yes,
That's exactly.
and SFA means
I don't know.
The salary factor allowance.
It means what?
A salary factor allowance.
Okay.
The D/s don't know about this. My husband hasn't told me.
But all my expenses are covered by my LOA and
Pocket
SFA
money.
as far as rent,
I've been found out.
rent, heat, water, and phone.
so you have a lot of spare money to spend on things like going to see Europe.
You got it.
But the phones are very expensive here. Have everybody phone you. Don't phone home.
One thing that I did on that line, I had people send over Alberta government telephone gift certificates, which I mailed home as gifts to people because they could phone me for twice the amount of time that I could phone them. So it might be something you might want to do.
Calling card, don't you? Also?
I have a calling card, but you cannot use your calling card from Germany, nor can you call Canada Collect. So, and it's very expensive to get very good at letter
That's
writing.
the main thing.
And so watch out for your phone bill. It can easily be $150 for making 2 15-minute calls to Canada.
Some of them go up as high as 800 marks. One person
Bob,
Last year, I think my wife and I brought the record amount of boxes over, so don't let the boxes worry you when you start to pack. I want you to bring everything that you want to bring. We brought
tell them how many, Bob. Tell them, come on. It's the record.
76 is
for
the
two people.
for-
65, isn't it?
for
With
two and a-
69, dear.
and a baby plus the red balls. So
Yes.
73, I guess, is what we're going to come down to. And then one of the other ladies on staff, she brought the record low, which was 2. I don't know how she could survive with just 2 boxes.
I
but-
brought 14, and 7 of them were teaching materials.
And I think I brought 11.
Inventory. Make sure that you inventory because of insurance purposes.
Yes, and I think if you have a video camera at home, the suggestion to us was to video everything you were sending over, so that you could prove the wear and tear on the item in case it was broken before
Yeah.
or after on the shipping, and then you had to claim.
A neat tip with the inventory, what I did, and it's not something that you would necessarily have to do, but it worked well for me, is I walked around with a dictaphone, spoke into the tape everything that I had, and then actually put it on a computer database with the replacement value on it. And I could organize it so that I knew exactly what was going into storage and what I was shipping to Baden. I could print out the pages on boxes of things so it looked like a packing slip already. And I think that it might help me, especially I've already started to forget what I put in long-term storage. So
I totally lost it.
I think I'd like to also mention something here about breakage. If some of your effects come broken, you will be reimbursed for that as long as they are on the inventory sheet. I know we had quite a bit of breakage with ours through the packer's mistakes, but what actually happened is there was a couple of plates and dishes that I forgot to put on the inventory, and therefore I could not claim them because they were not on there. So it's just an important note to know.
on the other hand, I had very little breakage. I think I had 1 cup that broke.
And I never handed my inventory listing because no one asked for it.
We-
It was from a small base or an area that wasn't used
That's
for
right.
shipping people.
I think Regina is the worst one.
Yeah, I think for people from Camrose, I don't know whether it'll be Edmonton or Penhold that'll be handling the move, but they really don't understand how to move teachers. So you have to go in and tell them that you're a teacher. read those reams of paper that you get and try to make some sense out of it. But go in there with an idea of what you think you're entitled to, and you tell them how to move you, because they're not used to moving teachers at all.
Do the same for Thunder Bay, but Halifax for Mark will be tremendous. And Thunder Bay, you have to be careful.
Okay, John, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, well, just maybe before we recap, I think travel, we're just about to finish off. This is tomorrow's the last day of school before Easter holidays, and maybe we should just recap where everyone's going to go for their Easter holidays.
Tomorrow, as soon as school ends, I'm off to Austria, Vienna, and then to Prague.
We're heading down tonight. I'm heading tomorrow morning to Frankfurt to pick up my daughter, coming over from Canada, and then this weekend we're heading off to Saint-Tropez on the French Riviera. We'll spend a week down at Saint-Tropez.
I was going to try to get my 40th resort in skiing at Courchevel, but Rob's come up with a better idea about
Going to the dump agency.
The dump agency, and maybe going to Tunisia or...
what the dump agency is you go and you pick up last-minute flights. So I went down today, and it's either Istanbul or Tunisia for 700 marks, which includes flight, hotel, 3 meals a day. So
it's about $500.
I'll send you a postcard.
It's about $500.
So we're not sure where we're going. We'll tell you on Monday.
And we're staying here. I'm going to get in some golf and finish your videotaping so that we can send it off to you so you can enjoy this in May and June and show it to all of your family and let them in on what great creatures we are over here. And we're going off to London for 3 or 4 days, I believe.
Are you taking a flip?
Yes.
What's the cost of a flip?
$5.
What is it?
One way.
$5 per person for one way. A flip. What is a flip, by the way?
My wife will tell you. It's a flip is from Air Force flight, and no, it isn't flipped upside down. It's just right out of Lahr, right to London, and sometimes you get lucky and you get a Herc, and sometimes
parachutes too.
Sometimes you get a 707. And you go over on a Friday and or Thursday, and you come back on a Monday, and it's $5 per person each way.
And I did that on my first week here. So if you're looking for something to do, phone me. I'll tell you how to do it because it's a great trip.
Check with your sponsor.
Yeah, check with your sponsor. But I guess just in concluding, I'd like to say that you are in fact the luckiest teachers in Canada. We were last year, but we're now here. So congratulations on being selected to D&D schools. You could be one of the last group of teachers coming here. Who knows with the political situation. So let's raise our glasses and toast to the new people that are coming in. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you in August.
Bye.
Oh, July.
I'll see you in July then. Cheers.
August 6th.
Hi everybody, it's the Alberta Connection, and we're back. Hope you enjoyed the video. We had a lot of fun making it. I guess just in wrapping up, on behalf of Bob and Ron here, I'd like to say that the video I think reflected a lot of really accurate information, and I hope that'll help you when you get over here. I guess one thing I would say about the money, don't worry about it. You can have a lot of fun here, traveling all over Europe, or even staying close to home. So do what you can afford and make sure that you really enjoy your time here in Europe. That's the main thing. Bob?
My suggestion to you is that don't sweat the small things. They're all small things when it comes down to the end. Every one of us have come over here in the same situation as you're faced. We've all had problems. Hey, there's big stories over here about the problems we've had, and everyone's got a new one, and we're looking forward to hearing yours. It's all worth it in the end. Just get it together, come over here and be ready to play, because we're going.
Great, thanks, Bob. I guess the key words in all of it is flexibility,
Durability.
and adaptability.
All right, we got it right.
We got it right this time. I can say we work hard and we play hard here. You know, coming up on the videotape, Bob, even though we're about to leave you, we've got some more information on your apartments and on your classroom. So don't turn off the tape. There is, in fact, more. But we would just like to say that you're a lucky bunch, and we look forward to meeting you, your new family, here on Disneyland on the Rhine.
Disneyland on the Rhine, we're looking forward to seeing you.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Welcome.